Have you ever felt like you're not alone at work? The feeling that someone or something is watching you from the shadows? Alfonso felt that every day. It was a sensation that clung to him, especially during those long, lonely nights. Alfonso worked late nights in a cramped old office building, the kind of place that seemed to have a life of its own. The kind where the walls creak and the lights flicker, casting eerie shadows that dance across the room. One night, as he typed away, he heard a whisper. "Get out." He looked around, empty. Just his imagination, right? He tried to shake it off, but the unease lingered. But then it happened again. Louder. "Get out." Alfonso's heart raced. The voice was unmistakable, and it sent a shiver down his spine. He felt a chill run down his spine. The air around him seemed to grow colder, and he could feel the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He decided to pack up and leave. The urgency in the voice left him no choice. As he reached for his coat, his hands trembling, he saw a shadow move across the wall. It was quick, almost too quick to notice, but it was there. No one else was there. The office was as empty as it had been all night. He bolted for the door, his footsteps echoing in the silent hallway. The next day, his co-worker Julie asked if he'd stayed late. Her tone was casual, but her eyes were filled with concern. Alfonso hesitated, but told her about the whispers and shadow. He could see the colour drain from her face as he spoke. Julie's face went pale. She looked around nervously, as if expecting to see something lurking in the corners. "Did you hear about Mr. Thompson?" she asked. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Alfonso had heard rumours, stories passed down from one employee to another, but he had never paid them much mind. Mr. Thompson, a former employee who was said to be dedicated to his work to an obsessive degree, tragically passed away in the office years ago. Some said he never left. Julie said she'd seen strange things too, things that couldn't be easily explained. Things moving on their own, whispers, shadows. They decided to investigate. They needed to know if the stories were true. That night, they stayed late together. The office felt different with two people, but the unease was still there. Around midnight, the temperature dropped. The whispers started. They were faint at first, but grew louder, more insistent. They followed the sound to an old, locked filing cabinet. It was covered in dust, as if it hadn't been touched in years. With shaking hands, Alfonso pried it open. The lock was rusty, and it took some effort. Inside was Mr. Thompson's old journal. The pages were yellowed with age, and the ink was faded. The last entry read, "I'm still here." The words sent a chill through both of them. Terrified, they left the office. They didn't stop running until they were outside, gasping for breath, and never worked late again. The office was never the same for them. So next time you're burning the midnight oil, remember Alfonso's story. Just remember, you might not be alone. The shadows might be watching, and the whispers might be real.